So good. What is the craziest prenup you've ever seen?
I mean, I've seen a lot of crazy prenups. I will say two. One of them I've talked about before, and that is there was a prenup where for every 10 pounds she gained during the marriage, she lost $10,000 a month in alimony.
Holy shit.
And it was enforceable. That was the funniest thing, is that a court upheld it. And the judge who upheld it, who was female, said, I want to say, I don't know why you married this man.
What?
This is a boorish clause. It's disgusting, but it's a contract and the two of you signed it and you had a lawyer and he had a lawyer and it's enforceable. So it was upheld. Now, I'd tell you, here's why lawyers are weird. I mean, it's one of the many reasons. But when I read the provision, I remember thinking, oh, I could work with this. Because if I was her, like you have to have a baseline weight.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, just like put like pennies in your pockets and wear your heaviest clothes. And then if you get divorced, be like a pro fighter, like wear the sweatsuit, be in the sauna, get butt naked on the scale and like strip it down as much as you can. But here's what I'll tell you. There was something honest about that prenup because he was an ogreish fellow and he had a lot of money and she was beautiful and didn't really bring much else to the table. And I think they were honest about the economy of that relationship because I think relationships are an economy. I don't think that's a dirty word. I think that if an economy is an exchange of value, then, you marry someone because there's an exchange of value. You give value, you receive value. And what value is worth what is a very subjective concept between those two people. And it's very hard to quantify, like, oh, how much is this worth or that worth? So that's the most crazy prenup I ever saw. I see a lot of prenups where people make insane demands. I'm seeing a lot of it lately, and I'm seeing it more with women. Where women are, I do a lot of prenups for guys in finance. So they're in their 30s or 40s and they've got, 10 million, 20 million. And they're marrying like a yoga teacher or they're marrying like someone who just does not have the assets that they have and is usually beautiful and brings that to the table and more fun than them because they've had their head down and been, you've been at Goldman, they got their head down and they're doing their thing. They're working the hours. And the men very quickly are like, I want her to waive everything. Like, unless it's in her name, like if it's in my name, it's mine. If it's in joint names, okay, we'll split it 50-50. If it's in her name, it's hers, but nothing. She gets nothing. No alimony, no anything. And I have seen a lot more women now say, okay, like I'll do a prenup, but I have some things I'm going to want.
Yeah.
Like I want in the marriage and some things if the marriage ends. Because you can put in a prenup some of the things that we want in the marriage too. So I've had women that are like, oh, I want a push present if we have kids of no less value than this. I want this many vacations of no less value than this. I want a monthly personal appearance allowance that'll like cover like things I want for my self-care. And they're being very pragmatic about it. Wow. And there's a little more pushback. And I think that that's an interesting thing to me. I actually don't, there are probably some people that would be judgmental about that transaction, but I really do think at the risk of getting misty-eyed about it, that I don't think you can feel loved if you don't feel safe. And I think a prenup is about both people feeling safe. Yeah. Like, I'll give, but do I have to give everything? Like, will I get my legs chopped out from under me? And, I need security. Like, I need security. If you're going to be the breadwinner and I'm going to be a supportive other and I'm going to like diminish my lifetime earning capacity by not pursuing other ventures, or I'm going to give you my skinny years, or I'm going to, whatever it is, like I need some security. And I think a rational person who wants their partner to feel safe would go, okay, I get that. So what is it? Like, what's the answer? I don't know that the answer is half of everything I have, but there's probably an answer we can come to. And I think just having that conversation is potentially an opportunity for us to like talk about some important things in this relationship and what we mean to each other and what we owe each other.
It's a good point because I've seen a lot of, so I went through I'm almost 40 now, I'm 39. And I remember like my first round of friends who all got married. Yeah. And we lived in Dallas and most of us got divorced. Yeah. And for whatever reason, we all got married kind of young. And I was the first one. Yeah. And then they would call me later, and kind of be like, how does it happen? So you talked to a divorce attorney. How much does that cost? What do I do with the finances? Yeah. I was probably one of the only ones that worked. And I was I made the money then. And so they didn't know where any of the money was. There was a lot of hidden stuff for them. The men obviously felt like I did all the work, but they felt like they had all the babies because it was Dallas, so everybody was having babies. And there was like this massive amount of fear, I think, on both sides, which seems like it's not good for divorce because when you're both scared, then you do crazy things. And I wonder how much better many of them would have been if they would have said the quiet part out loud first.
I think all of them would have been better. I think premarital education would have been really good for everybody. Like all of the people that talk about, oh, no fault divorce is bad for our culture because it makes it too easy to get divorced. Like, I don't believe that for a second. But I think if you actually want to change the divorce rate, we have to create barriers to entry. Like, I can't get a driver's license without taking a written test, passing a vision test, then passing a road test, then having a probationary license for a certain period of time. Marriage, $50, Elvis will marry you in Nevada. Like, that's it. Like, you don't get a pamphlet. You just did the most legally significant thing you're going to do other than die. And you just didn't get a pamphlet. Like, the first time most people learn what legally happened when they got married is when they're getting divorced. Like, you don't have to be a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to tell somebody the worst time to learn how to fight is when you're in a fight. Like, if I asked your husband, when's the best time to learn how to shoot a gun? Is it when I'm in a gunfight? No, that's the worst possible time. Like, literally, any time in your entire life prior to that moment would have been a good time to learn, right? So why don't we just have some basic premarital education? Why don't we have some sense of, hey, by the way, you're opting out of the title system. Your estate rights have automatically changed on both the state and federal level when you got married. Like, most people have no idea. So why not? Like, why not have everyone has to spend 1 hour with a divorce lawyer before they can get a marriage license? That seems very fair to me. Like, it seems like something that would be useful for people because at least that way they'll know, take this thing seriously. And I know what my downside risk is. And look, I think one of the beautiful things about being in a relationship, in my opinion, is the ability that you're not doing all of it yourself. Like, maybe you like to cook and I like doing dishes. Or maybe you don't mind taking the dogs out and I don't mind doing the laundry. Like, and there's this sense of like, hey, like, let's both figure out what it is. But here's the thing. You should know how to do laundry. Like, I'm not saying, like, if I don't mind doing laundry and you don't really like doing laundry, cool, I'll do laundry. Like, if you like, let me tell you something. We were in a relationship. You can handle the finances. Knock yourself out. You're better at it than me. I'm a good lawyer. I'm not a great businessman. Perfect. Here you go. You're in charge of that. I trust you enough. You're in charge. Okay. But I should know where the accounts are.
I know.
I should have some basic, we should have a meeting once a month where we go, okay, babe, so you remember this is all here. And remember I invested in this and here's what's going on with that. And just so you know, God forbid something happens to me, you'll know where everything was. But again, there's this sense that like, no, it's like Voldemort. If we say it out loud, if we say like, well, what if we ever split up or what if one of us died? Oh, no. By the way, one of those two things is definitely going to happen. Like one of you is going to die or you're going to get divorced. Definitely. Guaranteed. Like you're both going to die. Definitely. That's just reality. So why not just say, hey, we need to both know how to do some things. Like if you don't like to cook, I'm not saying you have to learn to cook if you're going to be in a relationship, but like your partner's going to be away sometimes. You have to know how to like, okay, I know how to like scramble an egg, or I know how to do some basic
girl
thing.
dinner. Yeah.
Something, some bachelor dinner, like learn how to make some little thing, because again, otherwise, you're creating a situation where there's this imbalance of power that I don't think is good. I don't think it's healthy long term. When
you talk to a judge, do you talk like that?
No.
You're really calm.
No, I have to do a whole character. Yeah. No, you have
What's
to do...
What's the character?
Well, here's what's funny. Like there's a saying that fame is the mask that eats into the wearer.
Oh,
like
that's a bar.
Some of these people know me now. So like I give them a little more Sexton.
Yeah.
I get to be
like,
a little more.
This is you.
Yeah, this is me. And I get to be a little more me.
Yeah.
It's a very polished up, non-profane version of me. But there's it depends on the judge. Like I'll say a good lawyer knows the law, a great lawyer knows the judge. And like I know which judges like enjoy the Sexton show. Right. So there's some judges when I'm trying cases, I can pull some shit. Like I can do the show and like they don't want the steak, they want the sizzle. And then there's some judges that they know that I'm a showman and they're expecting that and they don't like it. So they don't get that. They get the very, if it may please the court, Your Honor, you know, and at the end of the day, like, yes, I have this very performative streak and I'm a trial lawyer and trial lawyers are closet hacks. Like we all want to be like, you know, comedians or actors, but I am a law geek to the core. Like I love this job. I study the appellate division decisions as they come out. Like I know my trade.
Wow.
And I love what I do. And I know the law. And I've memorized most of Black's Law Dictionary. Like I like hearsay is a statement made by the declarant other than one by testifying at trial or other proceeding offered into evidence to prove the truth of the matter asserted. Like I have it all in here. But I still like to put on the show. But at the end of the day, like if the show's not going to work, okay. Like, and that's what's interesting about this profession is people will come into my office. It's the only job where someone will come into your office and go, I heard you're a ruthless son of a bitch. And they mean it as a compliment.
So true.
Like I was described by New York Magazine as the sociopath you want on your side. Now, I get misty-eyed talking about dogs. I'm clearly not a sociopath. But it's like sometimes that's what that's the task, right? Like the task is like there's cases where I need to be like the ruthless, sadistic person who's going to cross-examine you to death. And then there are cases where like my job is to be conciliatory and friendly and keep the energy of it, you know, in a calm place. And, you know, there's a saying I memorized years ago from Reese's, because people used to say to me, like, how do you eviscerate someone on cross-examination? Like, how do you go at someone the way you have to as a lawyer sometimes? And I think anyone who's ever been in the military and had to be in combat, or anyone who's ever had to like do things that feel like harsh or amoral or immoral. There's a line from Rhesus Sardonicus where he said, I've resigned myself to temporary complicity with evil in order to accomplish certain specific objectives for people whose suffering is more important than my need to maintain moral purity. Oof. And so I feel like in my line of work, I don't have a need to maintain moral purity. Like I represent the good guy, I represent the bad guy. Like I'm a weapon and you point the weapon. And a weapon in the hands of someone who's a good person can protect and save. And a weapon in the hands of a villain is a very dangerous thing. But I'm the weapon. And I don't always believe in the client, but I don't just represent the client, I represent the system.
100%.
And I always believe in the system. Like I think our legal system is a good legal system. It's got problems. Like we have the worst legal system except for all the other ones, you know? And I believe in it. And I think you get to be part of justice happening.
Yeah, it's interesting. My husband always says this line from Ender's Game, which is
great book
about war. Yeah, and how we will debate the morals of war after we've won it.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of similarities.
Yeah. Well, and I think your husband would understand what I consider to be, you know, the world needs bad men. We keep the other bad men from the door.
I think that's true.
And I think that that's something what what we have to do. And I think that a lot of the first 20 years of my profession was about becoming a weapon in a courtroom and honing that craft and honing that skill. And about 5 or 6 years ago, because I wake up at 4 a.m. every day and it's really quiet, I just started writing the book just as sort of something to do, to use a different muscle. And I started to write this sort of like reverse how-to book. It was like a how not to screw up your marriage. And I suddenly like had a book. I found I'd written a book. Like like if you write a page a day, in a year you got a book, you know? And I remember thinking, oh, this is a completely different thing. Like, and I wonder if this will hurt the world's perception of me as this like weapon and as this. And I'm very happy to say it hasn't.